Cliff House, top of the world, near the North Pole, Wednesday, December 21st, 1927. My dear people, there seem to get more and more of you every year. I get poorer and poorer. Still, I hope that I have managed to bring you all something you wanted, though not everything you asked for. Michael and Christopher. I haven't heard from John this year. I suppose he's grown too big and won't even hang up his stocking soon. It has been so bitter at the North Pole lately that the North Polar Bear has been spending most of the time asleep. It has been less use than usual this Christmas. Everybody does sleep most of the time here in winter, especially Father Christmas. The North Pole became colder than any cold thing ever has been, and when the North Polar Bear put his nose against it, it took the skin off. Now it is bandaged with red flannel. Why did he? I don't know. But he is always putting his nose where it ought not to be. Into my cupboards, for example. That's because I am hungry. Also, it has been very dark here since winter began. We haven't seen the sun, of course, for 3 months, but there are no northern lights this year. Remember the awful accident last year? There will be none again until the end of 1928. North Polar Bear has got his cousin and distant friend, the Great Bear, to shine extra bright for us, and this week I have hired a comet to do my pack and buy, but it doesn't work as well. The North Polar Bear has not really been any more sensible this year. I have been perfectly sensible, and have learnt to write with a pen in my mouth instead of a paintbrush. Yesterday, he was snowballing the snowman in the garden and pushed him over the edge of the cliff. Said he fell into my sleigh at the bottom and broke lots of things. One of them was himself. I used some of what was left of him to paint my white picture. We shall have to make ourselves a new gardener when we are less busy. The man in the moon paid me a visit the other day, a fortnight ago exactly. He often does about this time, as he gets lonely in the moon, and we make him a nice little plum pudding. He is so fond of things with plums in. His fingers were cold as usual, and the North Polar Bear made him play snapdragons to warm them. Of course he burnt them, and then he licked them, and then he liked the brandy. And then the bear gave him lots more, and he fell fast asleep on the sofa. Then I went down into the cellars to make crackers, and he rolled off the sofa, and the wicked bear pushed him underneath and forgot all about him. He can never be away a whole night from the moon, but he was this time. I have never been expected to look after the man in the moon before. I was very nice to him, and he was very comfy under the sofa. Suddenly, the snowman, he wasn't broken then, rushed in out of the garden. Next day, just after tea time, and said the moon was going out. The dragons had come out and were making an awful smoke and smother. We rolled him out and shook him, and he simply whizzed back, but it was ages before he got things quite cleared up. I believe he had to let loose one of his simply terrifilistic freezing magics before he could drive the dragons back into their holes, and that is why it has got so cold down here. The polar bear only laughs when I tell him it's his fault, and he curls up on my hearthrug and won't do anything but snore. My messengers told me that you have somebody from Iceland staying with you. That is not so far from where I live, and nearly as cold. People don't hang up stockings there, and I usually pass by in a hurry, though I sometimes pop down and leave a thing or two for their very jolly Christmas trees. My usual way is down through Norway, Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, and then back through Germany, northern France, Belgium, and so into England, and on the way home I pass over the sea, and sometimes Iceland, and I can see the twinkling lights faint in the valleys, under their mountains. But I go by quick, as my reindeer gallop as hard as they can there. They always say they are frightened of a volcano, or geyser will go off underneath them. This must be all. I have written you a very long letter this year, as there is nothing to draw but dark and snow and stars. Love to you all, and happiness. next year. Your lovin', Father Christmas. Top of the World, North Pole, Thursday, December 20th, 1928. My dear boys, another Christmas, and I am another year older, and so are you. I feel quite well all the same. Very nice of Michael to ask. I'm not quite so shaky, but that is because we have got all the light in and heat in right again. After the cold, dark year we had in 1927. You remember about it. And I expect you remember whose fault it was. What do you think the poor dear old bear has been and done this time? Nothing as bad as letting off all the lights. Only fell from top to bottom of the main stairs on Thursday. Who had left that soap on the stairs? Not me. We were beginning to get the first lot of parcels down out of the storerooms into the hall. Polar Bear would insist on taking an enormous pile on his head, as well as lots in his arms. Bang, rumble, clatter, crash! Awful moanings and growlings. I ran out to the landing and saw he had fallen from top to bottom onto his nose, leaving a trail of balls, bundles, parcels, and things all the way down, and he had fallen on top of some and smashed them. I hope you got none of those by accident. I have drawn you a picture of it all. Polar Bear was rather grumpy at my drawing it. Of course, naturally. He says my Christmas pictures always make fun of him, and that one year he'll send one drawn by himself of me being idiotic. But of course I never am, and he can't draw well enough. Yes, I can. I drew the flag at the end. He joggled my arm, spoiled the little picture at the bottom of the moon, laughing, and Polar Bear shaking his fist at it. When he had picked himself up, he ran out of doors, and wouldn't help clear up because I sat on the stairs and laughed as soon as I found there was not much damage done. That is why the moon smiled, but the part showing Polar Bear angry was cut off because he smudged it. But anyway, I thought you would like a picture of the inside of my new big house for a change. The chief hall is under the largest dome, where we pile the presents, usually ready to load up on the sleighs at the doors. Polar Bear and I built it nearly all ourselves, and laid all the blue and mauve tiles. Banisters and roof are not quite straight. Not my fault. Father Christmas did the banisters. But it doesn't really matter. I painted the pictures on the walls of the trees and stars and suns and moons. Then I said to Polar Bear, I shall leave the frieze to you. He said I should have thought there was enough frieze outside, and your colors inside all purpley, grey, bluey, pale, greeny, are cold enough too. I said, don't be a silly bear. Do your best. There's a good old Polar, and what a result. Icicles all around the hall to make a frieze. He can't smell very well, and frightful bright color to make a warm frieze. Well, my dears, I hope you will like the things I am bringing. Nearly all you asked for, and lots of other little things you didn't, and which I thought of at the last minute. I hope you'll share the railway things, and farm and animals often, and not think they are absolutely only for the one whose stocking they were in. Take care of them, for they are some of my very best things. Love to Chris, love to Michael, love to John, who must be getting very big as he doesn't write to me anymore, so I simply had to guess paints. I hope they were all right. Polar Bear chose them. He says he knows what John likes because John likes bears. Your loving Father Christmas, and my love, Polar Bear. Boxing Day, 1928. I am frightfully sorry. I gave this to the Polar Bear to post, and he forgot all about it. We found it on the hall table today. But you must forgive him. He has worked very hard for me and is dreadfully tired. We have had a busy Christmas. Very windy here. It blew several sleighs over before they could start. Love again, Father Christmas.